Get my 6. Notice the beauty of the full moon. And the like 20 deer in my yard. Seriously, check this out. Let me reverse the camera real quick. All right, let's do some zooming here real quick. Where'd that moon go? Oh, there. There's the moon. Look at that. Beautiful. And then, man, look at all this deer. Hi, deer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Huh. That's a lot of deer. Isn't that neat? They're still down there, all 20-ish of them. Then when I got up here to the campground, there were 6 up here. They ran off through that way. Keep your eyes out up here. Watch for movement. You may see deer. You may see something else. If you see something walking on 4 legs, it's probably a deer. If it's on two legs, who knows what the heck that is. So, man, those deer are coming towards me. Seriously, if they get close, it's like they want to come hear what I'm saying or something. You're going to kind of get creeped out a little bit about what I have to say today. Yeah, I shaved a little bit. As far as the beard goes, you can probably tell the difference. I was starting to look like freaking Grizzly Adams, so I trimmed it. And Dearly's telling me, you know, my beautiful bride, a.k.a. Giggly Girl, she's telling me to get rid of this too. We'll see how that goes. But, so what's up with the robe? Is this my George Foreman impersonation? 1970s? Is it George Foreman 1.0? No. This is my Valentine's Day gift from my beautiful bride, Dearly. She got me a really nice robe. She has a wonderful robe, one of those big, heavy white ones like you get in the 5-star hotels. I bought for her a long time ago. And I've always said, man, I like those robes when we go to those places. I wish I had a robe. Well, she bought me one. Isn't it nice? And it's really neat because, you know, if you follow the channel, you know, I'm a George Foreman fan. I like a lot of boxers. George Foreman, of course, is one of them. In the 70s, this is the color robe he wore. And, of course, that was just, it was a coincidence. She didn't buy it because of that. So here's a really odd story. Oh, wait, I wanted to show you my shirt. I bought this for myself. I bought Dearly, well, yeah, I bought her a similar shirt, but it didn't come. Mine came today, hers didn't. But check this out. You guys are going to like this. And yeah, it's like 20 degrees. Well, not really. It's 29. But check out my shirt. Let me see. It's underneath this. Super cold. Check it out. You're going to like it. Look at this. Bigfoot don't care about your stick figure family. Blah. Isn't that nice? That's a nice shirt. I saw that. It's one of the few impulsive purchases I've made in the last 20 years. I don't like spend money. So anyway, I just thought that was funny. And I see all those stick figure bumper stickers on the yuppies cars, and I'm like, man, can you imagine if they're out doing their little stick figure camping thing and they run into a Bigfoot Sasquatch? And then I saw that shirt on Etsy and I was like, gotta have it. So I got it. It's only $16. Not sponsored, no affiliation. All right, so here's the weird story as I get wrapped up in my new robe here. Gosh, this is so nice. I look like the king of the blanket monsters, don't I? It's like, look at this. Let him come at me now, brah. I'll be like Doctor Strange with the big old Foreman straight right. If they get close enough to me. All right, so something happened when I was a child that I thought was one of the strangest dreams a person could have. And it's like I'm hearing an echo when I talk inside this cape, so I got to take that off for now. Plus, I got to be able to listen for footsteps and whatnot. It's that whatnot that'll get you. If you're not ready for it, it creeps up on you. You know, that's one word, by the way, whatnot. Yeah, I'm hearing some footsteps, but I'm not seeing any deer. Perhaps it's that whatnot. So anyway, this dream, at least that's what I wrote it off to. I was like not even in grade school yet when this happened. Okay, that sounded like a tree knock right there. And then footsteps. Okay, make sure not to block this angle. So, when I was very young, preschool age child, I had an aunt, and she was my favorite aunt. And I'm not going to say this aunt's name because I have very toxic, dysfunctional bloodkin who troll me on this channel, and God forbid I give them something to get all bent out of shape about and whatnot. There's enough whatnot in the world, potentially hazardous to everyone's health. Why add more? So is my favorite aunt. We'll keep it at that. I remember very vividly, and this dream has stayed with me until now. I think about it off and on, like maybe every half dozen years or so. That's how rarely I think about it. It's odd that I can still remember it so clearly because it must have been 43 years or so ago, more than 40 years ago that I had the dream, and I still remember it. And how many dreams from so long ago do any of us ever really remember, right? There was the one you've been following for a while about White Boy. This was around the same time frame I had this dream. So, in my dream, I was in my bed, I was asleep, and all of a sudden I became aware of the presence of just like brightness. Not like a light though, but like I was surrounded by nothing but empty space, but it wasn't black and it wasn't dark. It was bright, almost as if I were standing out here in snow, but everything was snow, not just there. And suddenly a door in the brightness opened. See that? I'm telling you, it's cold out here. And stepping into the frame of that door was my favorite aunt, who, mind you, at the time of this dream, to my knowledge, I mean, I'd seen her recently, not long before this. We would go see her in the summer. She lived a considerable distance away from us, but she was there and she was smiling and she was waving, and I was smiling and waving. And I had this very odd feeling that it was almost like, not really as if I were getting closer to her in proximity, because I was remaining stationary. I was not moving, but it's almost as if I had a zoom lens on my eyes and I was zooming in on her. But just as I got to the door frame, she vanished. The door didn't close. It just ceased to exist and was just total brightness. And then I came to, is how I'll put it, because I was awake, sitting straight up in my bed and fully aware of what was going on around me, my surroundings. It's like 1 minute, I was asleep, and then this strange thing happens, and in the next instant, I'm like fully awake, wide awake, in my bed, in my room, wondering what the heck was going on. Well, I didn't tell anybody about it. I was a little kid. I just thought it was a very weird dream. We found out later that day that my favorite aunt had died the night before. True story. True story. I never mentioned it to anybody. I was afraid I would get in trouble. I got in trouble a lot when I was a kid. That's how I'll put it. And I learned to be I learned just stay out of sight, hopefully out of mind. Certainly wasn't going to share that story, and I didn't. So why am I sharing it here today on a public forum where millions of people a month come here and watch this cuckoo guy, for some reason, tell these strange stories? Well, I got something in the mail today. This is really nice. Look at this. At first, when I opened it, I thought I'd been sent anthrax or some nasty thing because I could smell some strange odor. Well, it was, there's lavender in here. Smell. See? Somebody made me these and sent them to me and Dearly and our son Daniel for Valentine's Day with a pleasant little note. Hang them on the side of your bed. The smell of lavender, of course, makes you... Just kidding. It'll make you go to sleep. It'll help you sleep. So that's nice. And there was a lovely little note. It's cold. Yeah, I'm not slurring my speech because I got a bottle hidden in here. I'm slurring my speech because it's 29 degrees and I'm getting cold. Look at how red my nose is. It matches my robe. So, Jeanette Newman in Preston, England. My favorite city in England. Yeah, I got 3 people that I love as much as I love my own life, even though they hate me, I guess. I live in Preston, England. I've been to Preston a couple of times. You know that one story I've told about staying in a like a hotel? That was weird. I just saw something drop like a black ball from a tree to the ground. You wouldn't have seen it because it was over there. Strange. And where'd all those deer go? Well, you know, the story I've told before about being in bed and this woman, red-headed woman, red hair with a smushed face, is at the bottom of the bed giggling at me, and every time I sit up, she'd run and jump out the window or something. That was in Preston, England. I wish I could remember the name of the hotel, but it turns out when I told the barkeep about it, my last day there, I stayed there once for, I think, 10 days and then once for 5 days. The lady down there working the bar, she said, "Oh, you saw her too, did you?" I was like, "What do you mean I saw her too? Other people are seeing this thing?" I was thinking maybe he's crazy. You know, that's what they say. These millions of people that come by here to watch. It's like, okay, whatever. I'm crazy, but you enjoy observing it. What's that make you? That moon's getting really bright. I want to show you, but I don't want to just... Here, let's check this out. Isn't that beautiful? There's something walking around over here, but it ain't deer. Let's get closer. I might have to come out here and do a night hunt soon. So, Jeanette Newman, actually about 2 years ago, she's very talented with watercolors. She actually painted my property, our property, with watercolors from the aerial view, like that, like if you do Google, you know, satellite or whatever, and it's very accurate. It's really wonderful. I kept that. I keep these things. Somebody puts forth the effort to make something like that for me. I'm not going to throw it away. All right, we're closer now. Let's see if we can hear or see anything a little bit better now that we're closer to the woods. You hear that? That's not deer. All right. What is that? I don't know. Keep your eyes on it and see if it moves. So, Jeanette Newman over there in Preston, my favorite city in England, made us those hearts and she mailed them to us for Valentine's Day. It was very sweet of her. Thank you, Jeanette. when you see this tomorrow, you're 5 hours ahead of us. Maybe you're going to see it tonight. I don't know if you're up late. She sent me a letter though, and something in these woods that aren't deer. They crossed and went over on the next property over. Jeanette's letter, dear Kevin, I'm enclosing 3 lavender hearts that I made for you and Dearly and Daniel, etc., etc. And this is no disrespect towards Jeanette by not reading her whole letter. I just want to get to the part. I read this and I was like, wow. You're going to say wow here in a minute too. So she says, I'm also writing in response to one of your videos in which you described something strange happening of a spiritual nature. I can't remember which video it was because I didn't make a note of it. And as something strange happens in all your videos, sounds like something strange fixing to happen in this one. Y'all are hearing those footsteps, not seeing anything, right? Okay, and it's ironically, wearing this one, I think Jeanette's referring to the video I talked about when I did the book review on George Foreman and his stigmatic type religious experience he had where Jesus came to life inside of him. It was when he found Jesus and went into the ministry. So anyway, she had a very similar experience she wanted to share with me. She says, this is what happened. I wasn't dreaming, and I wasn't drinking, and I wasn't on drugs. In 2003, my mother was terminally ill with cancer throughout her body and a brain tumor. I had cared for her at home, but sadly, after a few months and going into a hospice, she passed away. They had cared for her so well, but it was as anguishing. It was an anguishing time of sorrow. One night, after weeks and weeks of grief, crying and depression, I was asleep in bed when I heard a loud knock. I opened my eyes and saw immediately I was in a vivid, bright, white space, total ultra white. Sound familiar? There was no sense of dimension, no lines of floor, walls, or ceiling. It was just a vast white space. Sound familiar? In the distance to my right, I saw a gap or a doorway or like a portal open. Sound familiar? My mother stepped through. She stood looking at me, waving her hand in a hello with a big beaming smile. I was so relieved to see her, but shocked. As I moved closer to her, it was not my body that was moving, but my sight, as though my eyes were on a conveyor belt. Sound familiar? I wanted to hug her, but the closer I got, the vision started to disintegrate and her lovely smiling face just disappeared. I became aware that the white space had gone before my eyes and I could only see my bedroom. I was sitting bolt upright in bed, my eyes as wide open as they could possibly have been, my mouth open in amazement. I was so disappointed that it had all faded away. Then I realized she had come back to comfort me, to show me she was all right, not to be upset and just get on with my life. Although still painful to think about her passing, even now, I was given that gift of knowing she is in a place our consciousness goes to after death. I've probably only seen the waiting room, but I know our loved ones wait to give us comfort and support. And she mentions both of her parents were brave. They served in World War II. Her dad got injured when his ship was sunk and then a depth charge exploded. Hey, these sound like wonderful people you had there as parents. They both worked hard all their lives. But then she starts talking about the younger generation and a complete lack of work ethic as compared to previous generations. And she voiced her concern, especially about what's going on closer to her than us with the Russians and whatnot. And she asked me my opinion and my concern about all that. I'll answer it. Number one, the cream's always going to rise to the top. She went on and she talked about how she fears that the young, like the Generation Z, the younger folks, won't rise to the occasion and face the threat, if so called upon to do so by our modern times. Will they make their same mark in history as the World War II generation and others since and before? My answer, as I see it, is absolutely yes. The cream will always rise to the crop. Listen, throughout history, it's always been... I heard like a howl. There's something in these woods. Let me get this phone off this tripod. We're gonna go looking for him, her, it, or they. Something may have come through the portals of which I was just discussing. You know, you tell these stories, you tell them good enough. You got to watch out for that old boy back there with 2 red eyes. All right, let's go. Okay, do you know that even during the American Revolution, when we were fighting for our independence, the majority of Americans did not support that war and wanted to surrender? And did you know that during the War of 1812, and these are bad examples because Jeanette is one of our sisters over there in England, and the War of 1812, also referred to as the Forgotten War, was against England, who was us. They kept illegally impressing American sailors they'd kidnap at sea into service. They were fighting Napoleon at the time, hadn't beaten him yet at Waterloo, and they were making our merchant sailors be soldiers in their war against France. So we went to war with them. It's called the War of 1812. Even during the War of 1812, the majority of Americans wanted to surrender to the English and, as a concession, give them the New England states back. It's like, here, take New England back. Forgive us for standing up for ourselves when you were kidnapping our seamen who were out there working the shipping industry. We're sorry that we stood up for ourselves. So, but here's the deal. 3%. That's where this term 3%ers come from. You see a lot of people here in Virginia, especially driving around with license plates. They're yellow. You can get them, and they say 3%ers on them or something. Most people that have those plates don't even know what they mean. What it means is it's only 3% who actually stands up, does the fighting. The number's gotten smaller, but basically defends Western civilization. It's now less than 1/2 of 1%. Less than 1/2 of the U.S. population, at least, will ever serve in the armed forces. So less than 1/2 of 1% protect the other 99.54 or whatever it is. So Jeanette, don't worry about it. We're going to be okay. It's going to happen, in my humble opinion. And again, this is way off topic of these white rooms where we see our loved ones, but we're going to go because this system depends upon large influxes of cash going into circulation. And I made a video about this not too long ago. One of the best ways to do that historically has been to just go to war somewhere. And so whatever. But at the end of the day, I think we'll be okay. So, and as you can see, we're now at the end of the day here. And I'm hearing stuff moving all around me, and I'm not seeing anything. I guess maybe it's time for me to go inside. See you for more next time.